In this video, I'm going to be explaining the tariff diagram. Simple. A tariff is essentially a tax on all imports that go into the country. Before the tariff, the country will be importing the distance between Q4 and Q1. The tariff will increase the price from PW to PW plus T. As the price increases from PW to PW plus T, the demand will fall from Q4 to Q3. And at the very same time, the domestic firms, due to a higher price, will lead to additional revenues and profit, will increase their quantity from Q1 to Q2. In the case for domestic producers, they will receive a higher price of PW plus T from PW. And due to the higher price, they are able to make more revenue and profit, and thereby incentivizes more production of their goods and service. So therefore, production increases from Q1 to Q2. Before the tariff, the producer surplus is illustrated here in the yellow box. This indicates that producers that were willing to sell at P-min all the way through to PW are now receiving a higher market price of PW, meaning they earn an additional gain for every unit they were already prepared to sell. And because of the tariff, the producer surplus increases to here. So the new producer surplus is PW plus T minus P-min multiplied by 2 divided by 2. And the dark yellow here represents the additional producer surplus due to the tariff. The domestic producers will receive a higher revenue, as the old revenue will be PW multiplied by Q1, and the new revenue will be PW plus T multiplied by Q2. Now moving on to foreign producers. Simply put, there is a decrease in imports from Q1 to Q4 to Q2 to Q3. And due to the tariff, which is the distance between PW and PW plus T, these foreign producers will only receive at PW, as the tax will go to the government. And in the case for foreign producer revenue, these have decreased, as the old revenue used to be PW multiplied by the distance between Q4 and Q2, and now they receive only PW plus T multiplied by the distance between Q3 minus Q2. But remember that the box up here is the government revenue, which the foreign producers will not receive. Moving on to domestic consumers. Consumers in this case face a higher price of PW plus T from PW. As the price increases, the law of demand dictates that there will be less quantity demanded, and in this case, from Q4 to Q3. The consumer surplus before the tariff is in the blue here, as the maximum amount of money people were willing to pay is up here. I'm going to call P max. But as they are paying the market price of PW, this allows them to maximize their surplus and enjoy a wider variety of goods at the lowest possible cost. However, when a tariff is introduced, the consumer surplus decreases. And this is represented in the smaller triangle to the left. And the calculation is P max, which is here, minus PW plus T multiplied by Q3 divided by 2. And the change in the consumer surplus is shaded in here. And before the tariff, the domestic consumers will spend more due to the lower world price. So the old consumer spending will be PW multiplied by Q4, and the new consumer spending will be PW plus T multiplied by Q3. Now moving on to the government, as the government receives taxes from every unit imported. As the tax is the difference between PW and PW plus T, this will be the tax per unit, and in order to find the total tax revenue, we multiply that number by the imports after tariffs, in this case the distance between Q3 and Q2. There are two small triangles here and here. The domestic producers that are producing in between PW and PW plus T are operating inefficiently and they are only surviving due to this tariff. And even domestic production has increased from Q1 to Q2. The resources used to make these products are not fully optimized. And in the case of consumption, the increase in price from PW to PW plus T causes a contraction in quantity demanded from Q4 to Q3. These consumers valued the good more when it was at the world price of PW, but less than the tariff price of PW plus T. So they are forced out of the market, resulting in the loss of utility that is not captured by anyone else. I hope that helped. I hope you guys have a good day. Bye-bye.